I'm pretty sure not all of them are perfectly okay, but I'm pretty sure they're balanced out to some
So is
degree.
this the people that you were saying that were transgender or the non-binary?
The transgendered non-binary
both.
was the highest. Because you have
Okay, okay.
transgenders, and then you have transgenders that don't have a gender. All right.
Yeah, all right.
So there's like all right.
So for a while now, you've been wanting to highlight something that you've had some sort of epiphany on as it pertains to trans ideology.
So I went down a rabbit hole. That was what
Just want to say you've been holding on to it for about a week now.
yeah.
Just to explicitly get it on the podcast, this sort of epiphany you had. So I guess we can try to see how much of a conversation that we can have from this. Because honestly, I find it very interesting because this is one thing that is like transgenders. It's like what, less than 5% of the population?
Oh, I wouldn't even say it's that much.
I'm giving it benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Like hard benefit of the doubt.
I would say
it's like
1%.
less than 1% for sure. But I only say 5% just to give it some leeway because it has been a while now since like this transgender stuff has like escalated to where it's at now. Only because of like the media and, you know, everybody whining. With that being said, there was a study that you showed me where a bunch of doctors, like an exuberant amount of doctors,
an exuberant amount of psychologists,
had this study, right? Where, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like the study where they got a bunch of transgenders and they found like the common abnormalities.
Yes, but in a way I wasn't expecting. Every now and then I go down deep rabbit holes, dude. Deep rabbit holes. And it honestly just started because it's like you said, it's something that's been of late. I've never cared too much about transgender or whatever. You do you. I don't care. Yeah. But the forceful nature of it seemed odd to me because transgenders has been around forever.
Yeah.
Forever and ever. Nobody cares, you know? And then all of a sudden it did matter, and all of a sudden everybody didn't like them. And I've always found that odd because they've literally been around forever and nobody's cared. But the cool thing about every now and then going down a rabbit hole is you kind of learn a little bit about yourself, and you also see similarities and things around you, you know? So there was a word, literally a word that sent me down this rabbit hole, and that was transgendered right.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, a transgender is a human. What rights do they not have?
Yeah.
And through my learnings, I was able to find absolutely zero.
This week-long escapade of going down this rabbit hole, and there ain't shit.
There's nothing.
We ain't found shit.
There's zero right.
We combed the desert, sir.
We ain't found shit. There is zero. But what I have. I just realized how awkward that came out. There are demands, though, which under the guise of rights. And there are three, I will tell you.
Demands from these trannies?
Well, it has to be because these are rights that I don't even have.
Okay.
So I'll elaborate. There's three. Discrimination in the workplace, which on the surface, people would not argue. But I can also argue that I'm discriminated too.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the way I look.
Yeah,
You wouldn't hire me for a salesperson. You wouldn't hire me for a...
Yeah, I actually don't. I don't think we've actually had a conversation on discrimination because me and you have a very staunch opinion on discrimination.
Well, not only do I think you have the right to, but I think everybody does. And I don't think that it's negative. I think it's in your own best interest. Discrimination helps you pick the right soulmate, helps you pick the right house, the right profession, the right area of town, the right state. Whenever you pick Florida, for example, you discriminate against 49 other states, rightfully so, because Florida's the best.
Yeah.
But dude,
Florida and 49 other bitches.
when you put on a shirt, you're discriminating against another shirt. It's just your preference. That's what a discrimination is. It's just the checking off of preferences, the elimination of the others.
Yeah.
That's all discrimination is. You're allowed to do that, and I don't feel that the way I look has any power over somebody's. I don't think I have the right to tell you to hire me when you don't think it's a good fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I don't even have.
So, got discrimination. What's the second one?
The second one is a right to public spaces. Again, on the surface, everybody agrees with that. There's also public spaces I can't go to. For example, a women's bathroom.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess a bathroom, I don't think that's considered a public space, right?
If the bathroom is in public space, then it is a public bathroom. But
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
you have the right to
Yeah.
privacy in the bathroom.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
But it is a public space.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is healthcare. Now, on the surface, everybody agrees. Why? Yeah, just because you're transgender doesn't mean you shouldn't have healthcare, but they do. It's gender affirming care. So that word transgendered right brought me to a phrase called gender affirming care.
Okay.
So you can have gender affirming care, but you have to pay for it. So what they're really saying in this is they want Medicaid, social basically government insurance to pay for it. I don't even have that. So these aren't rights.
Yeah.
So I can't go and get liposuction. I can't go get lip fillers. I can't get my cheekbones to look like Elizabeth Warren.
What? Out of all people,
Out of all
that's who you choose?
Yeah, man, she's Indian, dude. I want to look Indian.
I want to look like Pocahontas.
I want to look like Pocahontas, dude. I don't have these abilities. A woman can't go get a tit job, and it's so basically they hide these demands under the guise of rights, but even the rights that they proclaim, I don't even get either.
Mm-hmm.
And healthcare, some will argue, but your healthcare is not a right. You have the right to provide your healthcare. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You do not have the right to a car, but you
Yeah.
have the right to get one,
Mhm.
And so basically they want government funded gender affirming care.
Yeah, that's what was ultimately thinking. That's what you were going to get to, and it seems like it's a very prevalent from people that for me personally, I think you would probably assume the same thing. When we've had our conversation about what the left and the right is, the left typically think in a group, right, and they think that certain things like right to healthcare, like everybody, we need free healthcare and all this shit. And it seems to me like it's just the same thing under a different veil for me. It just sounds like they're just
hidden behind.
Yeah, I think
words.
it's just because that didn't work with trying to get free healthcare. So I think they're trying to use another level of emotional manipulation under the guise of transgenderism to probably try to wheedle that into people getting free healthcare.
So I don't even think it's transgenderism. I'll be honest with you. Where all this stuff started going awry is with the gender stuff. Not the transgender, it's the gender, the non-binary, the construct of gender is when that started really, which I still don't to this day know how it got any traction. Now, I will say there is one group of transgenders that do not have access to gender affirming care. I will be honest here. And that is anybody under the age of 18. You cannot go into a doctor in certain states. In some states you still can, which is crazy to me. Because if you go to California, for example, a 15-year-old can go in there without his parents and totally get his or her genitalia whacked off. But that same child cannot go to a tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
So either you got to open up these tattoo parlors or you got to, there has to be a balance here.
Yeah.
And I don't even think there should necessarily be an age because all right, so I've been 18 and I've also been 19 and I don't think I was any smarter at 19 than I was at 18.
Yeah.
So it's like just an age it's just a guideline. you
Mm.
know. But that being said, that I will give them credit. There are a section of gender ideologies that do not have access to healthcare in certain states, but they also don't have access to make legally binding decisions either. There are many things that you don't have as a child, you know. So it doesn't necessarily mean you don't have rights, because your parents can help you. You know, your parents. If you've got some woke parents and they say, "Hey, man, all right, let's go cut your wiener off,"
Sorry,
and
son.
they're
But
under the rights. If somebody lives in Alabama or something like that, you probably ain't gonna be able to do that. But you can hop that little tranny on a plane and fly them to. I'm pretty sure. Oregon will get rid of an eye if you want it gone. So I'm pretty sure they'll cut your wiener off.
yeah,
They'll cut your boobs off.
that's fucking
They
weird.
will
dude.
assist you in suicide in Oregon. So why wouldn't they? But this is such a dumb thing. They probably wouldn't allow that, but they'll assist you with suicide. It's weird.
So you gone down this rabbit hole, right?
Oh, I'm still going, man. This is just so then I started researching gender affirming care. All right. And so I came across this study done by UCLA, and this face, read an entire gender study of gender affirming care through UCLA that was funded through the Williams Institute. And I think it was 9 licensed psychiatrists that did these studies.
Oh, it looked like there was more.
Just because of all the MD, PhD, D,
Yeah,
PPs.
took up a lot of characters.
Yeah. Took up a few more lines than it needed. I think it was either 9 or 11, one or the other.
Okay.
Either way.
Regardless, though, I will say I do have the link that you sent me. I'm going to put it in the description of our video so that
It's actually a very interesting read.
yeah.
And this is for
I
people.
was reading just a little bit of it that you were showing me, and yeah, I could see why you would go down that rabbit hole.
In my opinion, this thing laid out a lot of facts that are not dismissive of anyone. It tells a story, but it doesn't demigod anybody, and it doesn't make anybody out to be saints either. You know. So in these studies, it analyzed 4 aspects: people that abuse drugs and alcohol, people who do self-harm, and people that off themselves, that turn themselves off.
Okay.
Well, 3 sides, I'm sorry. Well, I think that's drugs and alcohol. I put as 2 different things, maybe. The number one group of people that's, first of all, the average straight male or woman, I think it's 40% seek some sort of therapy in their life. All right.
40%
Or I think it's 42%.
seek some sort of therapy.
Some sort of therapy.
Okay.
On the transgender binary spectrum or whatever class of
Try
people.
try to get clarification on their feeling.
Yeah, just
of,
seeking some sort of therapy.
Affirmation, I guess, is what I would say.
Maybe not even that. Just seeking some kind of guidance through a licensed psychiatrist.
Okay.
All right, whether it be like marriage counseling, health counseling, diet, whatever. The psychiatry it's very broad. You know.
Okay.
80% of people that have gender ideologies seek therapy. That's a very large number.
Damn.
It's a
That
very
is an
large number.
absorbently a large number.
It's not saying anything bad or good.
Mhm.
These people might just. I don't think there's anything good or bad about seeing therapy. I used to think this. If you want, I think a therapist is a good person to go bounce ideas off of.
Mm.
But through these studies, it found that the one that had the most problems with drug and alcohol, most people that harm themselves, and most people that turn themselves off, was transgendered non-binary. These were in the 82%. All these percentages may be off 1 or 2. There's a lot of numbers in the study, so bear with me. That do some sort of that. Now, this isn't even including the ones that like legit has already turned themselves off because nobody's.
It's not including that?
Because they already
Makes sense.
This is just during this study, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, that's a pretty staggering number, but I do think so. Say if there's 80% that seek therapy, there's 20% that don't, and I'm pretty sure not all of them are perfectly okay, but I'm pretty sure they're balanced out.
So is this the people that you were saying that were transgender or the non-binary?
The transgendered non-binary
both.
was the highest because you
Okay,
have
okay.
transgenders and then you have transgenders that don't have a gender. All right.
Yeah. All right.
So there's like all right. I don't want to mock these people,
Yeah. No, it's just okay.
Alright.
No, go ahead.
but it's kind of hard to do this without chuckling. So
Yeah.
if you are one of these people, bear with me. I'm a normal dude, or I'm not normal.
No,
I'm
you're a
just
cis male.
that's
You're
the thing. They kept
binary
using this
cis male.
word, and they compared everybody to cisgendered people. It's a great
Dumb
study.
word to use. I wish
Yeah.
I wish they chose a different word, but yeah.
Well, I don't even, if I was his tranny, I wouldn't want you to call me a tranny. I'm Jeff or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
or whatever my name
Cockless
is.
Jeff.
It's
Go ahead.
So I'm reading all the studies, and finally at the end of the study, what they said is because of these numbers, this is why gender affirming care is necessary. Basically, with this study, they were trying to get the government to release the aid of Medicaid to provide gender affirming care for transgendered people.
Okay.
That's what the base of this study actually ends up kind of being. And I don't think it's malevolent. I don't think there's any type of malice involved here. I think it's just the way some people think, you know. Now, a side note to after learning all of these things, now even the ones I know, transgender, non-binary people that are born, we'll say he was born a dude, wants to be a woman, but now that he's a woman, doesn't want to identify as a woman. He wants to identify as a they them.
Okay.
Follow me?
Yep. I'm on
So
the same
that
page.
would be an example of a transgender, non-binary person,
Okay.
and so on and so forth. Now, your regular transgenders, their numbers are up there too, dude. All of these are in over the 50% margin.
That seek therapy.
No, that's have drug and alcohol.
Oh, that
abuse.
under the 3 underlying things that you were talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
drug and alcohol abuse, self-harm, and turning themselves off.
Okay.
They
And
all are over 50% margin.
Okay.
All right, and this is why they think that gender affirming care is necessary. You need to let Medicaid cover this stuff. All right.
Okay. I'm on the same page with you.
So now we have that study pretty much synopsized. I have always, my entire life, thought therapists, psychologists were full of shit. Because I've never met a psychologist that's married, have children,
Yeah.
doesn't
I'm sure they're out there.
I'm sure there's normal ones out there. It's just I've never met one
Yeah.
personally. Matter of fact, I don't really know how many therapists I've ever met.
Disregard all of it.
Yeah. But I have witnessed a lot of documentaries on therapy, and I've always I watched you guys go to therapy when you guys were younger.
I remember it, and it was ass.
These people
Actually, I can't even say that. You want me to digress a little bit? Okay, I'll at least give my own experience with therapy. I will say, so I was going through, for some reason, I remember I was really bad in school, and I was very emotional when like you or mom would be very disappointed in what my grades look like. And so much so, I guess, that you guys, mom sent me to therapy for it, I guess. I don't really know exactly how I ended up there or why, the reason why. I just know that when I was there, the only thing that we ever really talked about was my grades and me getting through to actually learning something, you know, seeing
Yeah.
some sort of success, some sort of like dopamine influx that would kind of drive some sort of happiness out of me, you know? And I will say that in itself, like I was actually, the therapist that I was with, I was actually very, over my sessions, I was actually very excited to go and see him, you know, because the things that I would show him, you know, or things that he would show me, he was very excited, or at least gave me the perception that he was very excited for me being there, you know. And I thought that was, looking back on it retrospectively, I think that was pretty important, you know. So I will say that as much as I, at least a while ago, I used to have this very negative perception of therapists because I do think they do a lot of catering in a sense.
They didn't solve
Um,
anything, but they made you go to a place that made you feel good.
Yeah, well, I will say when after, you know, not going to therapy anymore for whatever the fucking reason was, I will say in the moment it was very fulfilling, you know? So I got to see a lot of happy moments, you know? I felt good about being there. I felt good when I left, you know?
Mhm.
But I will say that the core on where I was feeling bad at, you know, for having such a negative feeling on the detriment of my grades, that didn't change. Like
Yeah.
I was still
So you
bad
go
in
there, feel
school.
good, and then it's
Yeah,
short-lived.
yeah. So it was like,
Which brings me to the rest of it.
okay. S- all
This
right.
is
So
this is my
this is
wormhole's just starting.
so you're reading something that I have not. Just for clarification, I have not listened to his diatribe on the study that he's been going down.
Kept this top secret.
Yeah. So because he wanted to save it explicitly just for you guys and for me to listen.
This is actually the
And
first time I said it out loud.
yeah,
So
and
it's all
so
organic.
and this is actually the first time I'm telling you about my experience
That's ironic.
with therapy. So
It's ironic that you mentioned that.
okay.
So I tried to Google how many people turn themselves off while in therapy. Good luck on getting those numbers. Those numbers don't exist. There's some that's documented, but most of them are, let's not talk about this. I've learned why now. And this is why I think therapy is bad. The amount of liabilities that a psychologist has is insane. You have a person that they will self-profess are mentally disturbed, whether they
The
are
therapist?
or not. The patient,
Oh, okay. Okay. I was
whether
about to
they
say.
are or not, they have already self-diagnosed themselves as mentally disturbed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come to find out, I actually did learn that a lot of people that have this like DID,
What is
the,
DID again?
dissociative identity disorder. So they have
Okay.
multiple personalities, basically. Like all these things that like anxiety, depression, all this shit, they've like come to their own self diagnosis from other people that have self diagnosed themselves. You know, it's like, oh, I
Yeah,
feel the
yeah.
same way. You know, no, he says this is what you have because I think I have the same thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just want to that's actually very prevalent. So anybody that says that they have anxiety or depression, I immediately is just like, I don't really.
The
think
biggest
you
one
actually
is
do.
bipolar.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
probably
big
the
one.
most self-diagnosed disorders on the planet.
Yeah, and depression.
So I went down a rabbit hole of learning all of the liabilities that a psychiatrist has. If a psychiatrist has a patient that commits suicide, or excuse me, turns himself off,
Unalives.
if they unalive themselves
Yeah.
during while they have a therapist, the parents or the family members can sue the psychiatrist.
You did mention this something to me. I thought that was actually very interesting. It's
If
starting
you
to
look on the surface, you'd be like, well, obviously she wasn't helping. Well, she wasn't the one that fucked him up either.
yeah.
So why is she liable for this dude?
Yeah.
All right. And let's just say this person is now she knows that she has a patient that could harm himself. I don't want the liability to this thing. She can't even recommend them to another psychiatrist. The patient has to agree and sign that he agrees to be released from her care to this dude's care, which this dude's not stupid. You're trying to get rid of this dude. I'm not going to get rid of this. I can't take him because they don't want to expose themselves to the liabilities either.
Mm.
So you can't even release a patient without the patient's consent, which on the surface people would understand. But you got to keep in mind that these people just spent an absorbent amount of money to become a psychiatrist. They literally cannot risk their livelihood or their investment because of one dude. And that's why when you go to a therapist, what you're actually doing is just letting somebody listen to you. They can also be sued for not remaining neutral. They always have to implement neutrality. And if there's ever any evidence of them not being neutral, they're also liable. So you can actually Google the liabilities of a psychiatrist. And each one of these liabilities on the surface sounds good. But now try to paint a picture of what things could fit under the umbrella of this.
Mm.
There was a few I can't remember. I don't have my phone. I would read them to you. But there's a few that on the surface sounds great. And they always refer to the worst possible thing, like sexual abuse, right? But to somebody that's suffering with problems, you can totally understand that if somebody says, hey, you got to tough it up, somebody that's emotionally unstable, can label that as abuse. So what is abuse? At the end of the day, you know, if what you say to me is abuse, now you're liable for that. Now you're also liable for anything he does with that.
Yeah.
So a psychiatrist's best interest is to just listen and remain neutral. But imagine the life experiences and information this person that has that could help. Because most people that I've seen with psychological disorders, they think they're the only ones.
So what do you think of the type of people that say you need to go and find the right psychiatrist? So it's like
Yeah.
what would they mean by that?
I can
Because
tell you, I know what I need for a right psychiatrist. It's one that's going to tell me the way the fuck it is,
Yeah.
not what I want to fucking hear.
Yeah.
Not just let me speak. I want the truth. I want to be told you're reading too much into this. You need to let it go. You need to move forward. You need to quit being a bitch.
Or obviously, if it is something that you need to stand firm on this, you need to find a way to make this
Right.
better, et cetera.
But
Yeah.
it's honesty. And the best
Yeah.
way to get that is through other people's life experiences.
Yeah, and
The
it sounds
one thing
like
I
these laws kind of hold that
oh,
back.
man. If I was a psychologist, I wouldn't do it. The one thing I've noticed with all people that suffer from depression or whatever is that they believe that they are the only one. And what better way to help somebody than say, yeah, dude, I'm going through the same shit. My buddy Tom is, my wife Frances is, my buddy Fred is, my dad, we all go through the same things. It's
Yeah.
what is bad?
Yeah.
What is even bad?
Right.
You're just like anything can be bad if you want to think of it as bad, you know? But this person has to have neutrality. This guy can't just sit here and say, what is bad? What the fuck do you think bad is? This is just a construct in your mind. But your depression has become your identity. You can't even help somebody with that because you can't just be honest. You have to have neutrality. So if this person can't accept your honesty,
That just reminded me of it. Sorry, I interrupted you. You're going on
Nah,
a
you're
really good thing. It reminded me of people that like the one guy that breaks his arm. Let's just say his name is Tom. He's like, "Hey, my name's Tom. I broke my arm when I was 8," and like that's his identity,
yeah,
and so he becomes his injury,
yeah,
or-
forever, all his
yeah,
days.
and yeah. It sounds like you're automatically crippling yourself, mentally, because now
Yeah.
you automatically, any decision that you make is like, man, can I make it through with my broken arm or my hurt back? Big thing is like, I have a bad back. Like, oh, I can't, I can't go cliff diving today. I can't do that because, I got a bad
You end up
back.
changing your whole life for an
Yeah.
ailment that may or may not even exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know? Dude, I can thank myself to diabetes. 100%. I'm 100% convinced of that, dude. I'm a hypochondriac, self-diagnosed.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I could use Jedi powers to institute cancer in my body if I think hard enough. But either way, it's so you are, I learned this about you a long time ago, and this is where I finally pieced all my puzzle together.
Me? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
So this is how I was able to confirm my own thoughts. You are the world's greatest listener. Like, you just let people speak. You'll ask questions, you don't push back, but you'll ask questions.
Mhm.
And so there was a period, maybe a year ago, where I was just having some beefs with some shit. And I would just come and just tell you how I think of them in my mind. And you're just like, yeah. Yeah. Man, that sucks.
That's so. I'd be an awesome psychiatrist.
You are a psychiatrist. But the reality is that what I needed was like, dude, I think you're reading too much into that. So every time there was no pushback, it was affirmation. Affirmation is not confirmation.
Yeah.
Affirmation is agreement. So that's what gender affirming care is.
Affirmation.
It's
Care.
affirmation.
Yeah.
It's just, I agree. I agree.
or I understand.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And then your brain just gets on this damn snowball effect of where everything only consumes what makes sense that supports this theory.
Yeah, so then they'll start overlooking into other things that they run into in life and start attributing it to that.
Everything has this involved with it. If somebody walks down the street and double takes, they think, it's
Yeah,
because I'm a tranny. Or
yeah,
what.
he double took
you have
because I'm a man in a
consumed.
dress.
Yeah. You can never even examine the world through another perspective because
Yeah.
you have been agreed with and agreed
Yeah.
with and agreed with, and never can. There are 340 million people in this country
Man,
alone.
so that's probably why, because we've talked about this before, where I've had this analogy that there's so many people in this world that think that they are coming from the perspective that everybody is in their world and not in a
Yes.
world that everybody else is in. And it seems like I think that when you're born, that's innate. You automatically think that everybody's in your world. You know, you don't know what this is, who you are. There's a bunch of emotions going through you. You know, you're growing up, you got all these hormones and shit, and you haven't had anybody sit there and dial in and, you know, really try to perfect you as a human, you know, to be a part of this world. And it seems like to me that these things that, you know, these feelings and stuff that you have when you're a kid, they're just affirmed. And they sit there and convince themselves
There's never
time and
pushback.
time again that,
Notice it's not called gender confirming care.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's such a good point, dude.
You know? It's gender affirming care.
Yeah.
And now you may be transgender. I'm not denying that part. I'm just saying that you're never going to get that help through a therapist because they can't be honest with you because they're liable. Shout out to Dr. Anna, by the way. This is where I learned a lot of this stuff. She's actually a psychologist that went through 10 years of schooling, had her own practice, and when she received her certificate, she closed it because she did not want the liabilities because it didn't line with her morals because she cannot help somebody that she's not allowed to help.
Yeah. Wow.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
This is why I always I'm always questioning, like, when 9 out of 10 doctors say that this is the best toothpaste. Let me talk to that one.
Yeah, I want to know what that one says.
Yeah, why is everybody else saying that this is the one? But if they all gone to the same school, why is this one saying no?
Yeah.
And
We're
it's
all
like,
smart.
what's wrong with asking that question? You know,
Yeah.
and the issue is like, for some reason you fucking can't.
Yeah.
Why the fuck can't I ask this simple question? Why did 9/11 burn down the way that it did? What the fuck happened with Building 7?
Yeah.
You know, why can't I ask that?
You ain't allowed to ask that, dude.
Yeah, and so I can't ask this 1 out of 10 doctors why they said no.
Yeah.
You know, or else I'm a bigot. I'm a
Or
misogynist.
a conspiracy theorist.
I'm a conspiracy theorist.
And so what I used to think that all therapists were shitbags that didn't know jack dick. Because it's hard to even find a therapist that's married, a psychologist that's married. Maybe that's because they really
We
understand.
actually should find a study on that. How many psychologists are married?
But now I understand because they just had to come to a position to where it's like, dude, I just spent $500,000 to become a doctor. Can I at least make $500,000 before I quit doing this shit?
Mm-hmm.
You know, can I at least get a rate of return? And this girl because I never thought about the liabilities. I just thought all of them were dumb. Because in this study that I was reading, that Williams Institute study for UCLA, this is the part that bothered me about it. So basically, you had all these 11 or whatever psychiatrists do all these studies. And what they all agreed to was this is why we need to affirm their gender. But everything you look at is the result. Them needing their gender affirmed is not the problem. Them needing you to affirm the gender is the problem. Because you're looking at the result, right? It's like if you go out to your car and your tire's flat. Affirming that your tire's flat doesn't fix it.
Yeah.
Like, yep, that's a flat fucking tire, dude.
All right, let's go.
It's still flat. Dude. It's still flat. That's what affirming something means.
Yeah.
You know? When you strip away all the psychobabble bullshit and emotional thought process in doing this, that's what you're doing. So if you really wanted to help somebody that is struggling with their identity, you need to go much deeper than that. But that's the problem is they can't because they have to have neutrality. It can't possibly be because of you. It can't possibly be because of something that happened to you while you were 6 and you looked at it this way when you could have looked at it this way. God forbid you say, hey, you actually had control of this whole ride. You just didn't know it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You can't say that because if this dude finally says, holy shit, I'm fucked because of me, this is going to be so hard to clean up or this is going to be so hard to accept. Dude's liable. He
Yeah,
has to affirm you.
yeah, it's a harsh reality right there.
It's a harsh reality, unfortunately. So unfortunately, when you get this humongous snowball that's arrived at a psychiatrist's doorstep, the best thing a psychiatrist can do is just keep it rolling. Because if you stop it, you the guy that's got to clean it up, which is unfortunate. You know, being a transgendered, non-binary person is not the problem. It's how you, there was a fork in the road somewhere that got you here. And why is this even a bad thing if this is who you are? If you are a transgendered, non-binary person, why are you seeking therapy as though it is a problem? This is where you arrive, good, bad, or the ugly, through bad decisions, good decisions, bad events, good events. You should embrace who you are. You have to be good with that. I can't expect the world to affirm that I am a straight male. I have to be good with that. There are many things that took place a long time ago that got me to where I'm at. It's not where I'm at that's the problem. It's how I got here is what caused it.
Mm-hmm.
So either, I don't know how you fix it other than stop holding these psychiatrists liable for something they have no control over.
Yeah, that's actually the only. That's the only way that I can see it actually working. To be honest with you.
Now, if you can prove malice on a therapist, like, hey, he basically handed the dude a vial of acid to drink, you know, hey, then we'll talk about that. But if just because a guy is trying, the dude's got here because he's already psychologically not in good shape. So how much of this guy is even liable for this?
Yeah.
You know, it just takes being honest, and not only being honest, but you have to be a person that is capable of receiving all information. So let's just say I'm transgendered, non-binary. It's my duty to receive all of the information that the world is projecting upon me. It's my responsibility to shift through that and see what makes sense. Then through that, I will find out who I am, why I am this way. And by the time you figure all that out, I don't think you're going to need anybody to affirm anything because you've already confirmed it to yourself.
Yeah.
So I think people need to quit depending on these therapists. And it's not because now I know because they're not bad therapists, because they can't actually be therapists. You don't have psychiatrists.
You have affirmationists.
You just say it's just rubber stamping.
Yeah.
Yep. Another product. Oh, he didn't make it? Oh, well. What you really need is friends that can be honest with you or give you counter things, something to think about.
Yeah.
Receive all of this information. Most will be junk, you know, but you can see consistency in things. You have to examine the world and stop assuming that the world is yours.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a small piece in this place. And it's a beautiful place. And you're too busy thinking that you're so important that it's having a negative attribute on yourself. Because in reality, you ain't.
Yeah.
You're only important to yourself and your people that are closest to you. Quit trying to affirm anything. What would you even do with it? It's like somebody apologizing to you. Like you demanding somebody's apology. It's like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah, it's not tangible at all. I can't do a fucking thing with it.
It's just a win under your belt, a psychological win. Well, I don't even think it's a psychological win. It's a psychological L for that guy.
Yeah.
Makes you feel good.
Mm.
Just like an affirmation. The fuck are you going to do with an apology? You cross the hills of Tibet and you come across me and you say, affirm me. I say, all right, okay, tranny, non-binary guy. Okay. Was that the end of your conquest? You traveled all these miles, all these volcanoes, all of these villages for that? For that? Really? That's why you did it? That's a long walk back. You know, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. But
So I will say throughout this whole thing, what I've learned from this conversation was basically the same things I've already known is that I am in a world with everybody in it. And I acknowledge that and I understand that. And it's my responsibility to learn how to maneuver my way through life and
for your best interest.
for my best interest and honestly for everybody else's, because
It's weird how it works.
yeah, because when I try to weave in and out of this world, flowing through life just as much as everybody else, if I'm not
When you realize that you are a thing in a humongous world, you feel insignificant. But that's because when you realize that you become liberated in knowing that you have no dictation over the world. And by learning that, you realize you have complete dictation on your world, and how your life and what you get out of it.
yeah.
So as daunting as it seems to be just a grain of atoms on a humongous planet, it's also liberating to know that you are just as important of a grain as everyone else's grain. It's very liberating to know that nobody gives a fuck, because that means for you to get to here, you have to give a fuck.
Yeah.
And you take that power away from people, because now you are in 100% control of the life you are able to produce.
That's what I
You're
was
too
trying to get
busy
at.
thinking that the life that you're not getting is because of the world.
Mhm.
But when you think of the world as a place to observe and enjoy, it's like you all of a sudden get a blank piece of paper and you're able to draw your own map. It's liberating,
Yeah.
you know? So as daunting as it is to know, and it's probably understandably depressing to know that you're just a small little speck, it's very liberating, because now you know that everything you get is because of you. Fuck affirmation.
Yeah.
You can't do anything with it anyway. So why you're seeking it, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because you can tell me I'm awesome all damn day, but if I don't feel like I'm awesome, it ain't gonna get me anywhere. You can tell me the world is against me all day long. That's not gonna get the benefits that I'm trying to seek. You're better off telling me the truth, which is confirmation. And as if you want this, you have to get it. As long as you're seeking affirmation, you will always need it, because what you're seeking, you're looking in the wrong place. What is affirmation? If I agree that you're a woman and you're a dude, you're not able to lie to yourself.
Yeah.
So the entire world can tell you, yeah, dude, you're a girl.
Well,
The
actually, I
reason
don't
you
know.
were asking all these people because you
I don't
didn't
know.
feel like one either.
I think you can lie to yourself.
You're better. If you were able to lie to yourself that you are a girl, then why do you need all this affirmation anyway?
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm just
And that's what I mean. It's like when you figure out, you become liberated. When you no longer seek affirmation, you will find that you don't want it.
yeah, it doesn't
You don't
matter.
need it,
Yeah, it doesn't
because
matter.
you are who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need other people to tell you that. You have to just learn who you are. Quit letting the world tell you who you are. Quit demanding the world to agree with who you are. Be who you are. And when you truly are, when you confirm to yourself who you are,
Man, there's not a fucking therapist on this planet that can tell you otherwise.
you will find yourself not needing affirmation at all.
Yeah.
You know? So it's unfortunate, because it's
So-
not because I actually
so I
feel like
guess-
there are therapists out there that are really
So
great, but
now-
they just can't be.
So now let's get into a discussion on how and why do you think it got to this point? Do you
Well-
have an idea? Are you able to articulate why?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is the thing that made me really quizzical, because if you Googled how many people turn themselves off while under under a therapist, man, you can't get those numbers, man. You can't. Trust me.
Was
I
it like
dug.
patient confidentiality or some shit
Well,
like that?
I agree. So patient confidentiality just says you can't say a name. You know, you can't describe this person to anybody that would allure to who it
Yeah,
is.
that's fair. So
So you can
technically you should be able to get the numbers still.
you should
Just
still
not
be able to get
know
the numbers.
The individual.
So I can tell you, if I was a therapist, I can literally tell you everything there is to know about a patient and just not tell you who the patient is,
yeah.
not describe the patient. I can describe the person's symptoms all day long.
Right.
Same thing with doctors and blah, blah. So it seems pretty simple. Seems like you can find it through civil suit records. But that also tells you that there are some psychologists that avoid being sued also.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, it probably went bad when the government got involved. You know what I mean? If I'm honest, when the government started making regulations
Like
on,
it usually does for anything.
yeah, that's probably where therapy started going to shit.
Hmm.
But that would be an assumption.
Yeah. There's
But I
probably
just personally don't see how you can help somebody.
there's probably a big conspiratorial rabbit hole that you can go down on why it ended up the way that it did.
Yeah. Now apart from like chemicals in your body that would produce depression, or like real bipolar people and real depressed people, real psychopaths, there's chemical imbalances in their brains that would actually, you can clinically prove that this person has a disorder. Most people just have a psychological disorder that just, there's nothing chemically wrong with you. Just nobody's ever been real with you. Nobody's ever grabbed your collar and just slap you fucking pussy. Nobody's ever done that to you, and that's the thing that you needed. But on the other side, maybe that's all you've ever had, and somebody needs to be just say, "Hey, dude, man, I just fucking love you." But you can't do that. You have to have neutrality. You can never tell somebody, "Hey, you're worried way too much about what happened yesterday when it has no bearing on your tomorrow." Yesterday means jack dick in a grand scheme of life. It can give you a roadmap or whatever to things to avoid, lessons learned, but
Yeah, we were just having a conversation about this earlier.
has no bearing on
it
it.
has nothing. In fact, all it is just like
It's
you
a memory
said,
of a memory.
it's just a story.
Just a story. It's something you can pull back from and chuckle, or like, "Ew," or like be washing your hair. But it's just a memory, man. That's all it is, dude. It's if my dad broke my arm when I was 10, I'm not gonna be careful. I got a fragile wing or some shit like that. It's like, dude, that shit's over, man. It's like, the reality is my dad would have broke my arm so that you'd quit fucking crying about that, you little bitch. And then I would have been like, all right, it don't hurt. All right, you're gullible. Yeah. But if I was like that, he probably wouldn't have broke my arm in the first fucking place. So it's like, if I wasn't a little bitch, he probably wouldn't have broke my arm. Because he knew I would fight back.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you got to learn how to let go. And you're not important, but you are extremely important to yourself.
Yeah, and I guess the turning point for me in that retrospect in that way of thinking would be when I was younger, like legit dick level.
Dick level.
Right? You told us a long time ago that in this house, you're royalty. You're the shit. You're the bee's knees.
Yeah.
Out there, you ain't dick.
Yeah.
You're.
Don't expect anybody to care about you.
Don't expect a fucking thing from anybody, because honestly, you shouldn't expect a fucking thing from them either.
No.
Or they shouldn't expect anything from you.
You aren't owed anything. I'll give you a good example. Do you owe anything to anyone else?
Fuck no.
See, this is where people get conflicted. Is
Yeah.
They can't, and a therapist can't do this. He has to remain neutral.
But
Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Are you liable for this person? Why would you expect them to be liable for you?
Yeah. But it wasn't just you telling me that. It was actually you being able to deliver it in a way that made so much sense that I would actually have to sit there and understand that that's actually where I got my whole perception of the world, that I'm in a world
Yeah.
that everybody else is in, because that different outlook right there is the difference between, everybody in my world versus just being in a world. And I think when somebody comes to acknowledge that, like you were saying earlier, you feel so liberated.
It's liberating because you can just, now for the first time, you're actually seeing the world.
Yeah.
And when you see the world, you can see things that you would like to emulate. You would see things that you want to steer clear from. It's like you will literally see the world for the first time.
Mm.
It's like it's like seeing the world up here in the trees, and then you actually get down and then you see all the paths that you go. And it's like, it's liberating. You don't, And then when you go back up, you can be like, dude, this actually just goes any direction is a great place. You know, it's
It's a beautiful
it's
world, man.
daunting. I agree that to know that you are just nothing, but you are everything to
Yeah, but
yourself.
honestly, it's like, why is that even so daunting? Because what control do you have over that?
It's probably sucks to know you're not important.
I mean, I
In the
guess,
grand scheme of life, people mostly ask what you do here, why am I here, blah blah blah.
but
And
why is that perception even
because
important?
I think it's done from the beginning. I think people are when they're young, they see somebody down the street that's more popular, and you don't have a lot of information, so you assume that they're popular just because they are who they are. You don't
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
think about the
yeah.
work they put in to be popular,
Right.
or even the superficial nature of just having nice shoes could make you popular. You don't have the knowledge to shift through the information that you are looking at.
Yeah.
You know, you're just looking at things, and since you're not intelligent enough to examine why these people are popular or why these people are not popular, why these people have money, why these people don't, you don't
Actually,
have the
that
intellect to formulate
that
that.
reminds me of this small little video I saw. It was like a little animation, and I'm sure anybody watching this is probably, or even you have probably come across it. There is a little animation of this guy on a bicycle going down the sidewalk, and he stops at this crosswalk. He looks to his left, and he sees a guy in a car. He's like, he's thinking to himself, man, that I would really love to have a car. The guy in the car next to him sees a guy in a very nice car, Ferrari, whatever, supercar. He's like, man, I would love to have a car like that. And the guy in the supercar looks to his left, and he sees a guy in a plane. Man,
One day.
I would really love to have a plane.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like that envious nature that people tend to have, that they don't really ground themselves into where they are at in the moment, because in the end it's like all that's superficial anyways.
It is.
You know, you don't need any of that. That's
You'll even find, so I used to,
that
my favorite car in the world is a Ferrari F50. And my whole life, I always wanted a Ferrari F50. And then one day I learned how much the tires cost. I was like, dude, I don't want to be a slave to a Ferrari F50. I was like, dude, that's just a car to just stay on my wall, you know?
Mhm.
But that's the type. So when you're younger, you don't know all of the bad sides about having a Ferrari F50,
Yeah.
you know? How many souls you had to trample on and profit off of just to get to that fucking thing. And now how many more fucking child workers you're gonna need to put tires on the thing. So it's like once you get that knowledge back to back up the information that you're able to see, you stop judging people.
Yeah.
You know, so I can look at a dude in prison and I understand. We'll judge him and say he's a piece of shit, but I also say that I know why I know how he got there. It was just a string of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a bad person. He just did bad things to be put in a place where people that did bad things. But he's not a bad dude. He just makes a lot of bad decisions. So I can understand how he gets there. Same thing when I see a popular person. There's a strong likelihood that this guy's probably very accomplished at a lot of things, and people gravitate to that. But I also know there's a probably strong likelihood that all of that house of cards will crumble as soon as he steps away from this place, you know? Because he might go to a place where there's people that are just as capable of him.
Yeah.
He might just be the best of the dummies here, and that's why he's popular, you know?
Right.
So, but I have like the knowledge of life to go with the amount of information that I now have, to where when you're young, you're able to observe 100% of the information, but you don't know what made it work. And that's why young people are so entitled and so opinionated, because they have a bunch of ideas that just isn't so, because they don't have the knowledge that goes with that information.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that you're able to see it a lot with the internet now. People have access to information like no time in history, but they have no idea on how to actually achieve that information. That's why there's no critical thinking today. They know all the answers, but don't know how the answers were the answers. They don't understand what got them to that number. Just like a lot of people don't understand what got them to therapy. You have to back back engineer this thing. You know, you go out to your car and your car doesn't start. It's not like the observation of your car not starting is not going to make it start. You have to open the door. You have to open the hood. You open the hood. You check the battery. The battery is good. You check the starter. You check the starter. You check compression, your ignition, coils. You troubleshoot this thing all the way down. There's the fucking problem. You fix that fucking problem, spark plugs work, engine works.
Yeah. Got gas in it.
Everything now works because you went to the source. That's what knowledge tells you.
Right.
Information just says the fucking thing don't work.
Yeah.
So that's the key thing.
That information is where we got to affirmation.
Because it's when the thing that I found most troubling about that study that I read was that you had all these psychologists in a room, great minds, doctors, and not one person was asking the question, what got these people there?
Yeah.
They're just wanting to know how to fund the completion. And I was like, how is all these smart people not understanding troubleshooting? That's when I went down a rabbit hole of learning about the liabilities. The reality is all of those psychologists in that study does know how to do this.
Yeah.
But they can't say it. That being said,
that is a very unfortunate
It's
reality.
very unfortunate because, and I think that where some of it would be scary is because a transgendered person would be like, well, I don't want them to talk me out of being a tranny. I don't think you should. I don't think you should be talked out of being a tranny because all of your life experiences is what got you here. Now it's up to you to be okay with it. If you're not okay with it, then you might want to backtrack a little bit. But seeking affirmation for affirmation for affirmation for affirmation, sooner or later you're going to be cutting off fingers because your fingers are making you do it. When you figure out what made you be a non-binary tranny, it doesn't mean you don't have to be a non-binary tranny. It just now means you have to be okay with it. And as long as you are okay with it, you don't need the affirmation.
Yeah. You don't need a therapist.
You just confirmed it to yourself.
Yeah.
You know? But the psychiatrist can't tell them that. So I went in learning that, thinking that all psychiatrists are a bunch of fucking idiots trying to save people. But now I know these guys aren't idiots. These guys are actually very smart. And that's why they're doing that, so they don't jeopardize their careers. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that is very unfortunate.
So if you are a transgender, non-binary person, be one. To each his own, man. I have no control over that.
Right.
The only thing I do have control over is whether or not you're going to take a piss next to my daughter.
Yeah.
Because now you're in my bubble now. You know? This world isn't your bubble. You are your bubble. And you come stepping in my bubble, you're going to have some fucking problems. And if you don't like that, picture yourself having a daughter and me coming and taking a piss next to her. And hopefully that's all I'm doing. And I guarantee you your transgender ass would beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
With your discarded dick.
Like a flashlight. Stay still. Hold still.
It's just that you just have to respect everybody's bubble, man.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I'm pretty sure there are people out there as transgender, you just need to go on an island. I'm not one of those dudes, and I don't know any of those dudes.
Yeah.
But the only time you will ever have any problems is when you start making your problem my problem. Because me being a straight white dude,
cis white male,
I'm not forcing this upon you.
Yeah.
Be a tranny, man. Have fun with it. I want you to want to be one. And if you are one, dude, I'll hang out with anybody, dude. I've never in my life, literally not one time, ever met anybody I didn't think was interesting. Affirmation equals affirmation. Confirmation. See the end of the equation. Every time you get affirmation, you will need more affirmation. Every time you get
it's short-lived.
confirmation, the equation's over.
Yeah. So for anybody else that watched all the way up until this point, if you have anything to add, any gripes, any, thing that you want to say about us, let us know because we'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
We also have an email for the people that hate this kind of conversation that want to
Call
berate
me
us.
whatever you want.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys on the next one.